Hey folks, Pat here from DNS, and this Madison area fishing report is current as of Friday, February 21st. Well, we've been pretty busy here at the shop again this morning, so hopefully I can knock this report out. Before I do, I want to stress that this report is for current conditions as of today's date. Many factors can cause ice conditions to vary, so please be careful no matter where you fish. For up-to-date ice conditions, please feel free to call the shop at 608-241-4225, and we can tell you what we're hearing around town, or if you run into some sketchy ice yourself, give us a call and let us know, or post in the comments below. Just a few announcements to go through. The Fishing Expo is in town this weekend, so that starts today at 1 and goes through Sunday. Um, these big crowd things aren't necessarily my thing. I'd rather be out fishing, to be honest. But I know they're very popular, and so I figured I'd mention it. But yeah, go check it out if that's your thing. The Kicker Cup has their third qualifying event for this season. That'll be Sunday, the 23rd, on Lake Redstone, which is an awesome lake. If you've never fished it, it's a really cool spot. 7:30 to 2:30 on Sunday. If you want to test yourself against some of the best anglers in the area, it's $300 for a two-person team. And Jake and the crew over there that run the event do just a fantastic job, very professionally done. And yeah, we're happy to support these guys. So good luck to all the anglers that are doing that, and I look forward to seeing the results. The Capital City chapter of Muskies Inc. We got their fish or muskie stocking raffle going on here at the shop, so you can swing by and pick up some tickets. Got some great prizes here. If you know anything about muskie lures and how much they cost, there's a couple great, very valuable packages here. So enter to win that, and all the money raised goes to the muskie stocking efforts that the chapter does there, and they do a great job with that. Game fish season closes next Sunday at midnight, so that's March 2nd, and that means no more northern pike, no more walleye after midnight next Sunday. So get out there and enjoy game fishing while you can. Bass season technically, well, you can't keep any bass after next Sunday, but you can still fish for bass because they have open, catch and release only season for bass year round. So you can still get out and do bass. Also, sturgeon season closes. The spearing season closes, I believe, Sunday if they don't reach their quota before then. I know they're getting close. Wanted to thank the folks at Black Earth Angling Company and the Muska Lounge for hosting another great Drinking with Scissors event out there on Wednesday night. These things are a ton of fun. If you've been fly fishing and tying your entire life, or maybe you're just curious about it, swing by. These are great social events. Not everybody ties flies, but some great tiers hang out and some newbies. So, it's all skill levels. Everybody's welcome. I don't even actually get a chance to tie. I'm chatting so much with folks, and it's really more of a social event than anything for me anyway. So anyway, their next one will be March 17th, I think, and then another one in April 23rd or something like that. Anyway, stay posted. I'll be promoting those because we are happy to sponsor them. So as far as ice safety stuff goes, if I'm honest, creepers maybe not as essential right now because we have snow on top of the ice. A lot better walking, not better for dragging a sled. I'll tell you that from experience. But as creepers are always a good idea to have. I keep mine on my boots year round. So I'm just always prepared like that. But yeah, they're a good idea to have because you just never know when you could slip and knock your noggin. Spud bars also, we got like 20 inches ice in spots. Maybe you don't need a spud bar everywhere, but if you're crossing heaves, or you're running into some sketchy ice and you want to test it out, always a good idea to have a length of rope in case of an emergency. And floating ice picks, for me anyway, are just part of my gear, almost, as essential as bibs or boots. I throw those around my neck just to have them, after a while, you almost feel naked without them. Still got these Vexilar batteries. They are flying off the shelves pretty fast here. So $59.99, great deal on a lithium battery. And our fly tying department. We've been selling quite a bit of fly tying stuff, which obviously I'm happy about. But we just placed another big order for stuff that should be coming early this week. And yeah, whether it's hair jigs or tiny intricate dry flies, we've got stuff here for you. And winter is a great time to get stocked up. So I think we can just get into the report here. As far as weather goes, it was a chilly week here in Madison. I'm sure we added to the already plentiful ice we have in the area, but things started getting warmer a little bit yesterday. The weekend looks gorgeous, and I don't see a high below 30 degrees for the extended forecast. So we should have some fantastic ice fishing conditions as we head into the last week of game fish season here and beyond. Late ice too. I love panfish, bluegills, and late ice is one of the best times to be out there for sure. Um, so like I said, still plenty of ice out there. It's been cold this last week. Not a lot of folks have been getting out, so I don't have a ton of very current ice thicknesses reports coming in, but I do know I was out there on Lake Mendota on Saturday and Sunday drilling through 16 to 18 inches of ice, and that's before this week's cold snap. So I'm sure areas have 20 inches of ice, maybe even more. That being said, there are a few sketchy areas that I'll cover as I go through the report, but and you're going to want to always look out for current areas, heaves, and expansion cracks, but the majority of the lakes are safe for ATV travel. As far as fishing goes, generally around the chain, I'll get into details as we go through the report, but generally speaking, if it's shallow water panfish you're after, if you can find weeds, you'll likely find bluegills and maybe some crappie mixed in with the usual spikes, waxies, and plastics, working well for those fish. Generally speaking, the perch bite has been tough. I think it has a lot to do with this cold front that we've been dealing with fish hard to find, but even harder to get to bite, at least the last few days. Maybe this warm weather will change things, but fishing shallow water tip-ups with shiners has been good action for bass and lots of smaller pike around the chain. Walleye have been showing up in some of those same shallow areas, including especially ones near shoreline breaks, usually at low light hours. Otherwise, anglers are out on mid-lake humps and hitting deeper shoreline breaks looking for walleyes. And reports I've heard have been mixed, but generally good. Most action coming during low light periods. Either way, if it's walleye you're after, medium shiners, small suckers, and blacktail chubs are good choices for those fish. I guess we can get into a little bit of detail up here. Up on Cherokee, I haven't even seen or heard from anybody that's been up there. I pretty much wrote Cherokee off after weeks of having tons of lookers. There's a lot of fish in there, but they just want to look. So let's talk about Cherokee again as things start to melt. That's when things should start to pick up there. But if you're looking for pike and bass, great tip-up action up there still. And maybe you got a group of folks you just want to chase some flags. Have at it, because there's quite a few fish in there that way. I guess maybe let's just cover the ice on Lake Mendota before we talk about Lake Mendota. I made a little map here covering the heaves. So we got this heave that goes off Govs, past Maple Bluff, down to Tenney Park. That's been causing headaches all year, and I still haven't heard of people being super successful crossing it. Maybe right by Governor's Island, but if you're looking to get around Governor's Island and you got an ATV, you can go out this north or this heave that heads west here towards North Bay, and then you can get out between this heave and then another heave that goes from the state park over to Farwell Point. So there's a good way around there. If you're looking to if you're walking and looking to get across the heave over here just out in front of Govs for some walleye or pike or whatever, perch maybe, they are maintaining a bridge out there. The guys that have permanent shacks are maintaining a little bridge there. So, and after this cold, I would think access to be good, but always be careful. The heave down here by Mendota County Park continues to cause some headaches in places, but I did hear that folks are getting out across it onto the West Basin okay, and chasing perch out there. I did hear that there's a new heave that stretches from kind of, just north of Bishop's Bay here down to Second Point. I saw this on Lake Link. I think Boss Hog was the guy who posted it, so thanks to him for doing that. And I haven't seen it myself, but apparently it sticks out of the water pretty good. The heave that comes off Picnic and heads kind of northeast here-ish, or east, I guess, is still there, although I haven't heard that it's super sketchy. And then somebody called the shop last Saturday, I think, and they said that there's a heave in University Bay. We didn't get super great details on that, but I think it sounded like it heads off Picnic Point and goes towards the Union, but it's just out a few hundred yards from lot 60. So maybe it crosses this way. Maybe it just skirts along the shoreline towards Second Point down here. I'm not exactly sure, but I guess an ATV went halfway through there last weekend. So despite all this thick ice, you do always have to watch yourself out there. As far as fishing goes on the lake, North Bay's been producing good numbers of walleye and pike, but a lot of small fish. Governor's Island's had great walleye action and pike action out there. Warner Bay has some great pike action and some walleyes showing up, close to dark. Down off Mendota County Park in the West Basin has been where all the good perch action has been taking place, and I kind of say good in air quotes there because folks have been struggling. They scattered fish. It sounds like I haven't heard anything about the bigger schools I mentioned the last couple of weeks, and but they are finding fish. They are catching limits, but they do have to work for them. Good pike action down here along the West Basin shoreline. Marshall Park has some gills in there. University Bay, still plenty of pike in there, some walleyes close to dark. I just haven't heard anything about panfish, and I know for a fact because I fished down there. There's great weeds in there, but geez, I don't know. I don't know what's up with the bluegills. I don't know where they're all hiding this year, and it's frustrating me. The University shoreline's been good for pike and some walleye. Tenney Park, um, um, I guess I haven't heard anything off Tenney Park. Don't know why I said that. So otherwise, down here on Monona, kind of the same thing down here. There's supposedly a heave that goes across the lake in front of Olbrich. Do be careful around there. Otherwise, areas to look out for are where the Yahara dumps in here, the warm water discharge over by MGNE over here, and out on Weechawak Bay where the river comes back out. Some shallow water there where the current is pretty good. So usually want to use caution around there. Otherwise, I haven't heard of any other things to look out for. The problem is with Monona Bay, it's been kind of a dead sea. I just have not heard. Did I say Monona Bay? I meant Lake Monona. Has been kind of a dead sea, especially for perch. I've still only heard of one perch caught. So please, if anybody has caught any more than one perch, let me know because I would love to hear that people are at least doing better. But everybody else I've talked to, they get lookers that come in if they can find fish, but that's been a struggle. So yeah, I don't know. The walleye has also been spotty. You know, mid-lake humps. You got this center hump here. You know, some of the area down here by Olin, off Winnequa and stuff over here. There's some good structure that's worth trying. But again, I haven't heard of a ton of action out that way. Um, Nothing much out of Weechawak Bay, Turville Bay. I haven't heard hardly anything out of there. But again, I guess maybe Monona Bay makes up for it in spades because there's just still a ton of bluegills in there. The action's been great. Folks catching fish all over the bay. I've seen a lot of folks out from Binningham Beach. Not as many down here on the west end, but I promise you, there's fish all over. So some nice bluegills, occasional crappies, decent tip-up action. The triangles have been quiet lately, but a few fish still coming out of there, but not as many as early ice. Otherwise, over to Wingra, a lot of small bluegills in there. Heard about some decent perch mixed in. You got to really sort through there. Some decent, mostly smaller pike, and some good largemouth bass in there on tip-ups. But again, yeah, Lake Monona has been a struggle for a lot of folks this year. Not sure what's going on. Upper Mud, haven't heard of anybody out there. There is snow on the path where you park here. You can get on. So the snow is going to help people dragging sleds through there, but I just haven't heard of many people fishing out there. So not sure what's going on, or I should say what's not going on over there. Otherwise, Lake Wapisa, north end of Lake Wapisa, Lake Farm area has been turning out some gills if you can find weeds, which sound scattered. The whole North Bay has been very quiet for walleye and pike. I know several guys that have permanents out there that have moved on because they just aren't finding the fish they want. I heard last week I announced that there is a heave that kind of heads northeast off Hog Island, so do be careful of that. Folks are running ATVs all over the lake, of course, and finding perch out in the main lake basin. This last couple of weeks, it has been a struggle to get them to bite, but again, I think that might have something to do with the cold. Down here in the South Bay, still some bluegills down there, although it sounds like numbers or size is a bit of an issue. Walleye and so a few crappies down here on this kind of southeast shoreline between Babcock and Bible Camp, but that action also hasn't been hot and heavy that I've heard of anyway. Same thing on Kegonsa. Plenty of folks running ATVs. I haven't heard of any heaves or any sketchy areas. Perch out in the main lake basin are stubborn and hard to find, but they are getting some fish. Last I heard about gills was probably a month ago on the south shoreline down in the weeds down here, and walleye out from the state park is usually a pretty kind of safe bet there if you're looking for walleyes. Down in Lake Koshkonong, I haven't heard of anybody fishing the river. That's all going to change this week as things start to warm up. Lake Koshkonong has plenty of ice, although I heard about a truck that put its front end through and a snowmobile that went through, and I think those were both more down here on the south end of the lake. There's more springs down there and expansion cracks. Most of the action I hear about up here is on the northwest end of the lake. And, Bait Box on the Rock in Fort Atkinson's does a great job of promoting. They do, updates on ice conditions there. So you can check in with them if you head down that way. Like I said, nothing I've heard out of the dams at Indian Fort or Jefferson. Beaver Dam, I guess they're still getting some walleyes up there, although it's not as good as it was during late ice. Devil's Lake has a great trout bite if you want to go mix it up a little bit. They've been still doing well on trout. Otherwise, the Wisconsin River, not much going on in the river itself, but all the backwaters up and down the river are safe for travel. Do watch out for springs, though. And, that's always a good time to get out of town and avoid some of the crowds out there. Otherwise, yeah, some of the dam fishing is going to be going pretty good here pretty soon as things start to warm up. Otherwise, on Lake Wisconsin, the shallow bays have been still producing some good panfish. I haven't heard anything about walleye action over there, so please update me if anybody knows about walleye action on Lake Wisconsin. Otherwise, up the river here, Castle Rock and Petenwell, sounds like on both lakes, decent walleye bite, pretty good crappie bite. Mississippi River backwaters and their main river areas from Prairie du Chien all the way up to Alaska. I hear about folks getting over there. Areas on the river like DeSoto, Genoa, Stoddard, Lake on Alaska have been good. And yeah, like I said, up and down the Wisconsin River has been good for fish and the backwaters. Otherwise, over to Milwaukee, we've got some good action happening for brown trout and steelhead in the harbors. So if you wanted something totally different, go over there and check that out. Otherwise, steelhead in the Milwaukee River itself, although that's been ice covered, that again should change this week with some of the warmer weather coming that we have. But if you're fishing for steelhead, swinging bright streamers and stuff like that can work. Otherwise, just drifting like a buggy nymph, a big stonefly looking thing with maybe a orange bead on the front and an egg behind it can be very effective. Otherwise, as far as trout goes, the inland trout season is open. It's all catch and release right now with yeah, you have to release anything you catch, and only artificial lures can be used. This time of year, especially with the cold we've had, not many people have been out, but as things warm up, the action will improve. But no matter what, it's cold in the mornings. The fish are on bankers hours this time of year, ultra bankers hours, I call them. So 10 to 2 is really going to be your best bite in the area, maybe 11 to 1. And slow and low is the name of the game, whether you're fly fishing or using spinning tackle. You're going to want to focus on slower runs, deeper runs, and slow presentations. Husky jerks, countdowns on the Rapala side of things. Crappie tube jigs are great this time of year, working slowly through those deeper runs. Otherwise, on the fly side of things, we'll just talk about our Happy Fly Day, everyone feature here. We've got pink squirrels, really all you need for ice fishing, for fly fishing trout in the early season like this. Can be it's really all you need to catch trout. But if you want to challenge yourself, you can put on a woolly bugger, drift those through the slow runs, maybe with one of these small midge nymphs behind it. Otherwise, it is going to be warmer, so you might start seeing some bugs coming off. If they're flying, you're going to see stoneflies. If you can see them, they're going to be like a gray-looking moth. Those are stoneflies. A black caddis pattern works great to imitate those. Otherwise, midges. If you can't see what the fish are eating, midges on the surface are probably what they're on, so you can do that. And we might see some blue-winged olives, but I'll talk about those next week after the warm-up. That pretty much does it for the report. I do want to thank you for tuning in. If you want to comment on anything you're seeing out there, comments, catches, please post below. Otherwise, call the shop, 608-241-4225, and we can let you know what we're hearing out there. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in. We will talk to you next week, and good luck. Thanks much.